Hello, and we're back. I have done a few things since we last streamed. Basically, I put in a new grass, and I kind of like this one a little more. If um, if we look at the details pane, let me get out of landscape mode, go to selection. Um, also going to open up Twitch here. Okay. So if we look at our landscape page, sorry, our selection mode, and then I go to my user, my player start, then I can move object to camera. And if I jump into the game, also I'm going to be eating an apple and drinking protein, so I might be coughing and chewing a lot. So just forewarning. But I like this grass a little more. I think it's pretty good and it's fairly random. I was able to randomize it pretty good. Basically, we have these rocks within the grass as well, and we'll hide some of this too with like some grass, like actual like foliage grass. So that is what we'll be doing. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is maybe sculpt some of this road out here to make it a little more appropriate to this road. So basically what I've been doing, if I go into landscape mode, I've just been using this flatten tool that kind of like brings it out, and it's just gonna fix up some of the problems we see, and it'll allow us to put in the road and maybe some rocks around the road. So that's all I'm doing. And then I'll smooth this out as well, so that it's not as obnoxious, because that's pretty obnoxious. I don't think it's gonna be that high. I mean, I know this area of camp, which is where the cars are, um, can get pretty unruly in the elevation. But I'm gonna go ahead and smooth this out, see what this looks like. And I'm gonna take the tool strength down just a little bit. Something like that. Basically, I'm just bringing this road in over here so that it's closer. Or this, what is this called? This like part of the road that comes out. Go, and then I think we can make the brush size a little smaller. And then we're gonna flatten this area because there was like a latrine right here. We'll let it just blend right into the road. And let's go ahead and put a box right here. Just a shape, put it a cube right there. Let's make it a little bit bigger, a little taller, a little longer like that. move it right into place. And basically that's going to be the train. We can also sculpt the landscape to flatten this up so that it's closer to the ground, or rather to this handicraft building. And then we'll go ahead and smooth that out just a little bit. Make that a little bit bigger. See what that looks like. Okay. See what's going on here. So let's keep flattening this. Just need to bring that up a little bit. And then we'll smooth this texture. I might actually bring this land up. And then we'll smooth that out. Make that a little bigger. Smooth that out. Got a little bit of character going. Okay, it feels pretty good. At least for now, nothing crazy. I think I'm gonna bring this up a little bit. Smooth this out right here. This is a little too high. Honestly, I could probably come a little closer, but might flatten this just a tad. Make this a little smaller. That was pretty abrupt right there, I think. We'll smooth it out just a tad. Same with that. Seems pretty long, but I don't know, maybe not. Let's flatten this area because I know that this was sort of where the commissioner's area was. All right, and then I think we'll just generally smooth this out a little bit. And then, honestly, this needs to come out way out here. And then remember, there's like a trail that goes behind trading post and it kind of goes on up. Let's just flatten this out, bring this up here, because eventually that meets way up there. I think that's about right. Now let's just smooth this out. We're gonna take this tool strength down. Just get this a little smoother. Let's sculpt that up. Bring it up a little bit. And we're gonna shift, we'll sculpt it down ever so slightly. Wonder what the sun looks like at a different angle. Might help out a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely looking better. Okay, let me finish smoothing this out here and make this brush size just a tad bigger. Smooth some of that. And let me continue flattening this just to bring it up. Oh, you know what? I forgot that road that goes right here. I need to build another road. Luckily, we're pretty good at building roads. We know how to do it. Just gonna bring this up to the road a little bit. And we'll smooth that out. Smooth all that out. Not sure where that came from. All right, let's smooth this. There's a lot going on there. The road's not that wide. Same thing, we'll smooth some of this. Bump up the tool strength. Wonder what reflection looks like. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. Gives us a better idea of what's going on. Just gonna get rid of this here. And so this artifact of this road is kind of distracting. Same with this road. Make the tool a little bigger. I'm gonna smooth out campsite 3 as well. It's probably not that prominent. Smooth out this road. That's pretty accurate right here. Kind of like that, but it doesn't need to be that abrupt. That's pretty abrupt there because we're raising the level of the ground. Not sure that's as steep, so just keep smoothing these out. Oh, I forgot we have another flag area. Got to build that too. Man, this Chrome world is pretty cool. I like this. It's like pristine. Everything looks like glass. Okay. I think that looks pretty cool. Maybe sculpt a little bit here. Just get some character going in this area. Maybe some erosion. Do some there as well. Just need to get a little bit of character. Nothing crazy. Just a little bit of character up here. All right, and then we're gonna go hydro. No, we're gonna go erosion. We're just gonna erode some of this away. Let me make the tool a little thicker. Whoa, that's too much. Really hoping the game doesn't crash. Let's smooth this out. Just giving it a little character, that's it. I'm gonna have to smooth this out a lot. That's a little bigger than I thought it would be. Let me shift that down, actually, that's huge. I'm just fixing some of this, smoothing it out. Definitely probably shouldn't have done that. Let me make it a little bigger. So we get a pretty average smoothness. All I wanted to do was add some character to this hill. Okay. Let's see what it looks like whenever it's lit. All right, looks a little better. Hey, and we got this little like dimple here, which is actually true. There's this little rock thing that's right there on that side of camp. Okay, I think that's good for now. I think this makes sense if I play start. We go up to camp. Feel like maybe this latrine needs to be a little further up. So I think I'm going to move this latrine up. There, start. And object to camera. Okay, and then let's move this latrine up a little bit. But before we do that, I want to flatten this area. Flatten, let's make the brush size really small. And then we're going to flatten this. There. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, now we're going to move it up. Okay. I think that looks more appropriate in terms of location of the latrine. I wonder if we can find a latrine in the fab. Let's check that out. Yeah, this one will work for now. So I'm just going to go to that latrine. And drop it down. And I'll rotate and translate a little bit. And maybe I'll duplicate and move that over as well so that we show that we have two latrines right there. Okay, not terrible, but good start. All right, I'm gonna save everything because my computer is working overtime. If you've noticed, I I textured everything with grass, and then up on the mountain, up on the east peak. Whoa, that is way too fast. Put my scaler down. Yeah. Up on the east peak, I also put some rock texture down. I got pretty sophisticated. I have a new texture. I wonder if I have it open here. Yeah, here it is. I have this new texture here, and I put in some variation to my flow just for the grass. I'll do the same thing for the dirt and the rock as well here pretty soon. It should be pretty easy to just copy and paste all that. In fact, I might go ahead and do this. Um, well, hold on. Let me get through our list just a little bit more. So we have a few more places we need to um, section off, which now we're going to do the campsites. First thing though that I want to do is see if there's a campsite map for Spanish Peaks. Spanish Peaks, Scout, Ranch, Campsites map. This might be a little far-fetched, but maybe there's some campsites in a map form, kind of like this. I'm not sure where I would find it because Santa Fe Trail Council doesn't exist. Don't think we're gonna see it here. Oh, this is a cool photo. I'm gonna save this one. Probably gonna need that to help render out some data later. And actually, we're gonna take all of these files that Abby sent me, as well as the one that I just downloaded, and I'm gonna put it in temp, and we're gonna create a new folder called SPSR. We're gonna drop those in there, and these are gonna be some of the photos we'll use to kind of help with our rendering and give us some ideas. So I'm going to actually render out the Scout Law in 3D model. And so I wonder if we can actually view that in the fab. Sorry, I wonder if we can find a limestone pillar in the fab. Limestone pillar. Limestone, not pillar, but fence post. That's what those are. This might be a stretch. Um, Maybe just block. Limestone block. Parking block. It's cement. Okay, let's just look for limestone. Yeah, we might have to create our own, which we can do, but I need to learn how to do it. So, yeah, that's what I've been getting up to. Is I made all these textures. I textured the dike walls with rock, um, and yeah, so that's that. So let's go ahead and put down the campsites. So we're gonna get campsite 1 in here. And real quick, let's just flatten it out. So that we have a workable area. And I change my camera speed so I'm not zooming all over the place. It's already too fast. 10. The brush size a little bit bigger. Let's make the campsite. And then we'll smooth this out right here. And then we'll smooth that out. Okay. So I think I might paint dirt where the campsites are. Just so that it's really obvious that there's something going on. Okay, so I got the dirt painted for campsite 1. Let me change the angle of the sun. Let me make it morning. Evening. Evening. Yeah, that works. Looks like I need to probably do a little more sculpting, but get there sometime. All right, we'll do the commissary or the commissioner's area as well. All right, and then we'll go up to campsite 2, which is right here. Wow, this camera zoom is killing me. A little bit shaky. Yeah, campsite 2 is like right here. And then campsite 3. I'm trying to remember where campsite 4 was. I think campsite 4 is right here. Right here. And while we're here, let's flatten this out. And then we'll smooth it just a little bit. It wasn't that abrupt. I'll make my brush size just a little bit smaller. And then down just a tad. And make the brush size a little smaller. And smooth it out some more. All right, so that's campsite 4. I probably just messed that up really bad, but that's okay. I didn't really go to campsite 4 too much, so I might need some help from campsite 4 peeps. Clean that up in a little bit. All right, so that's campsite 4. Campsite 5. You know, this is why I need a map, because I'm like really trying to remember here. think campsite 5 was like right here. Oh, auto save. It's okay with me. It's a good autosave feature is really good because we could lose all our progress. All right, campsite 5. Campsite 6 was basically right here. Maybe like right over here too. And there was a little bit of a like gap here. And then campsite 7 was over here. It was like right up here. And I think we had a campsite 8, if I'm not mistaken. It was like up here somewhere. I'll need to have people probably confirm with me there. Campsite 5 was behind lower flagpoles. Oh yeah, okay. Was it like over here maybe? Let me go ahead and put some flagpoles down while we're thinking about it. Um, so to do that, we'll go to outliner and selection mode and areas. Show you what I'm doing here. So I'm on areas, first class trail flags. So let's go find our flags. And we should probably name these. So this is flagpole 1, American flag. Yeah. Then we had the Kansas flag. And then we had the Boy Scout flag, I think. Okay. And let's duplicate these with edit, duplicate, and then let's rename flags to flags 1. Actually, I take that back. Abby, you made a really good point. We should probably do upper flags. And then a lower flags, which will create a subfolder. We'll just call this. Actually, I want to call it flags lower and flags upper so that they are right next to each other in the alphabetical order. Okay, so we're going to take our 3 flag duplicates and we're going to move them up into flags lower. And then we're going to actually move them in the Unreal world over to our actual other area. So I'm going to go ahead and move the outliner so I can see more of my screen. We're going to move the flags all the way out there. And let's fly out there to go find them. All right, I think they go right here. So let's rotate. Wow, these are really weird. Not behaving very well. Okay, then we'll just put our flags there. And there. And where's our third one? No, I can click on it. Oh, there it is. Okay, and that's going to go there. And you'll see that half of these are underground, so we're going to actually grab all three of them. We're going to move them all up at the same time, maybe. That'll let me. Uh-oh, it just froze on me. I'm going to go ahead and save because I feel like it's going to crash any second. It is not doing the right thing. I'm actually moving the landscape, maybe. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't know. It's not terrible, but they're still all three underground. There we go. Okay, so the flagpoles are in place. And they're very crooked. We'll fix that at a later date. Okay, so you're saying campsite 5 was behind the lower flagpoles. I think you're right. Like right over here. Starting to sound familiar. So I'm going to do campsite 5. We're going to go into paint mode and we're going to do dirt. And we're going to put campsite 5 like right here. Does that seem right? Let's remove this dirt. We'll put grass back there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and smooth out the transition for some of this stuff so that it looks a little more appropriate. But I think dirt makes sense to put down for the campsites because a lot of them were just dirt and a lot of the grass was, eaten up by a bunch of scouters walking around. So just gonna blend that in a little bit so it's a little more natural. Oh yeah, I need to put a road here too. Yeah, I might make all the roads dirt as well. And eventually we'll put some grass down because I think that'll make things pop a lot better. Things will look a lot more natural with grass and foliage. I need to clean up campsite 4. This sculpting's really bad. Not going to do that now though. Okay, all the campsites are fixed. Okey doke. Where did our buildings go? Is it just me or did our buildings like leave? What the heck? All right, where's the admin building? The admin building's underground. I don't like that. Did I move the whole entire Earth? Is that what I'm seeing? Where's the commissary? It's also underground. I think I moved like literally the whole entire Earth. Let's maybe move this so that we can see the admin building and everything else. There we go. That's not good. I need to really lock that into place. And I think I can do that by making it unmovable. So now all the buildings are floating and all the trees are floating. I hate this. All right. Let's snap to grid when we move them so that we know exactly where we're at. Okay, let's release there. Yeah. I think that's good. Hopefully that was all. Let it compute because it's frozen. Okay, I think I fixed it. Yeah, definitely fixed it. Everything's in its normal spot. Maybe this guy seems a little lower than he should be. Oh yeah, maybe it's not quite in the normal spot. See, those latrines are underground. Dang it. All right. I just need to move this down one eensy weensy itty bitty pixel. And then I'm going to lock it so it doesn't move on me again. Okay, I think I might be able to change the location with my, yeah, I think I can change the location over here on my details pane. So I'm going to manually do this with some numbers. So I just put in minus 200. It's not like the end of the world. Like I can always like reposition stuff. But let's do minus 185. Oh, that's minus 85. That's not going to work. Unless 0 is what we need. That actually makes sense. If 85 is not it, then 0's got to be it. That's probably right. All right, we'll set that to 0. Let it compute again. Yeah. Okay, it was 0, so that's good. All my boxes are good. This guy's actually, this guy is still not on the ground, but oh well. Now I want to make my landscape immovable. Mobile. Nope. Guess I can't do that. Oh, might be able to reset the property value to default. Let me try that. Hopefully it won't blow up. Okay, once I get this fixed, we're gonna put some. Okay, that's not correct. Control V that. Once I get this fixed, I'm gonna start putting some tents down so that we have some tents we can look at. So I just Control Z'd It threw my landscape out into the void. So we don't really have a landscape anymore. All right, there we go. Okay, I'll let the shaders come back. All right, I'm just not gonna mess with that for now. Everything's gonna be slightly underground. Actually, yeah, everything's slightly underground, I think. So if we look at this tree, we should be able to see the roots. If we do end, we should be able to barely see the roots, I think. Oh, I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, something like that. These guys look fine. Maybe they're a little high, but not the end of the world. What about our lake? Is that too high? Kind of curious. Nope, the lake's fine. The flagpoles are floating, so that's cool. All right, that's fine. Okay, what did I say we're gonna do? We're gonna put some tents down. So we have all the campsites. Let's start putting a few tents down. Yeah. So the first tents we're gonna put are in the commissioner's area. And let's move our light around so we can get some other perspectives. And do like early morning. Yeah, fix. Kind of want to fill this void out here. I think I can do it. We just need some fog. Go ahead and save everything, and I'm going to add some fog into our environment. Oh, way too dense. 0, 1. That is impossible. 0, 0, 1. 0, 0, 0, 1. How does that look? Also too much fog. The fog really that bad? What the heck? Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe the fall off height needs to change. Yeah, there we go. Fall off height. Fall off height is like way too close. Okay. I got some fog out there, so it looks a little better. It's not just, plain black. We could probably put some cool textures out there to like put more mountains, maybe some plains. That would be cool. We probably won't get to that until, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that Grandote up there. Holy cow. He's looking good. It's really interesting how you get closer. It's like impossible to see it. You really have to be pretty far out. Basically back to camp. But yeah, I think I won't render any of the distant objects until I have my desktop computer back, because otherwise it's going to crash. So let's put some tents down. All right, So commissioner's area is right here. And I gotta be honest, this immediate fog tunnel thing is kind of annoying. Let me see if I can change that. Whoa, that's cool. Start distance, we can probably bump that out. Like, see, there's this sort of fog film thing showing up right in front of us. It's kind of annoying. I'll deal with that later. I don't really need to get it now, so I'm just gonna remove all the fog for us. Oh, maybe that's not fog, because I'm making that. Could it be clouds? Nope, it's not the clouds. Is it the sky sphere? Nope. Skylight? I don't know. Directional light. Oh, maybe it's just the directional light. Let's change that to be something a little better. Nope. I don't know. We'll deal with it. For now, I'll figure it out later. We need to plant some tents. I think I have a canvas tent in here. I'm trying to remember where I got it and where it's currently living. Megascans 3D. Nope. Megascan surface. Nope, that's not it. What if I go to my on that folder in my library? 3D model, project, and then it's gonna show where it lives, which is just there. Okay, it's in Megascans and then 3D tent model. So let's drop 3D tent model down. Of course, it's upside down. So that's cool. Is there a way to rotate it? Yes, I think I can rotate it here. Did that work? Oh, that's taking a while to compute. I don't like that. Oh god, that was the landscape that I just rotated. What the heck? Why did I do that? Why did it click on the landscape? I don't know why I keep editing the landscape. Okay, I reset it back to 0. It's computing, but that's crazy. It just inverted the landscape. All right, select my tent. And then I guess I'll just rotate it here. Why not select that? That's annoying. Tent, location, Let's bump this up a little bit so I can actually see it. Okay. Oh, I'm not a fan of this scan right now. Yeah, this is not going to work. I don't like this tent at all. I think I might have gotten another tent. Let's see. Library. Did I get another tent? No, I did not. So let's see if we have another tent. Canvas. Look for a free one. Camping tent. Yep, sure, that works. Let's add that one. It's relatively small. Yeah. And I'm going to delete you because I don't like your components. Hopefully this one's better, but it's inverted again. Why is it all inverted? It's probably something wrong with the world. A little concerning. Okay, hit end. And then let's bring in a mannequin. That's funny. Mannequin does not obey physics. Why did it just make two? All right, we're gonna have to scale this tent up. Like there. Seems right. Maybe just a tad smaller. Yeah, we'll do that. Then we're gonna, wow, this is gonna be a problem. I think I'm gonna remove the toggle object snap to surface. I'm gonna delete that guy. We're gonna copy him out. We're gonna hit end. And then we'll snap the surface there. Yeah, and it just goes upside down. Something's weird with the earth here. I need to probably figure that out. I'm gonna remove the snap to surface, and then we're gonna hit end. It's gonna drop it down. And then we'll rotate. And let's do another one. And we'll put it like over here, and let's rotate this one. And okay. So we have 3 camping tents. Commissary, or commissioner's area rather. And let's make a new place, new area. We're gonna create a subfolder. We're gonna do commissioner. Commissioner's area. And we're gonna take our 3 tents and move those up into our area. Right there. Okay. And while we're here, let's go ahead and duplicate. Edit, duplicate. And move them over to this other campsite. And we're going to select one by one and hit end. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Not a big fan. It's like very buggy. See, that one worked. Now it worked. Okay, sweet. We need to make this campsite one, so we're going to call this a new area, subfolder, campsite one. And these three objects are going to move into the campsite one area. And show you what I'm doing here. We'll just duplicate. And we have a campsite two. And duplicate hierarchy maybe. Yeah, look at that. That's cool. So we made a campsite three. Let's move these in here. And then let's delete that. We're just gonna duplicate hierarchy for each one of these. So campsite three. And then we'll hit duplicate hierarchy and it'll make a campsite four. Same thing, campsite five, six, seven, eight. That's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, campsite two, tents are now going to be moved over to campsite two. So let's go do that. And you saw the content explorer there. We know what's going on. So now we just need to move these three assets way over here. I'll put those there for now. Let's zoom out so we can see everything really well. We can place all these really easily. Okay, campsite three, we have these three tents, and we need to move those to campsite three. All right, campsite four, these three tents, move to four. Move those over to four. Wow, that is crazy. Make my camera speed a little faster. Okay. Campsite four. You got tents. Campsite five. You're gonna get tents. Campsite six. Get some tents as well. And then campsite 7 should be pretty easy. Just gotta place them over there. All right, and then campsite 8, I think was way up here, kind of on its own. So I'll put these here. All right, we got our campsites. And we have all of our tents. So I'm going to control save, control S. And let's take a look. See what everything looks like. I'm also taking a picture here for my buddy. Sending him a Snapchat. Told him I was working on Unreal Engine stuff. All right. So we have most of our tents set up. Obviously, there's more than 3 tents per campsite, but I just put in 3 tents to kind of denote that this is a campsite and make it really obvious. All right. I'm gonna listen to some music too while I do some. I can hear my music. All right, so we have all these campsites basically created. So completed all. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the location might be a little off. I could use a little bit of help there for people eventually that'll watch this and hopefully give me some feedback. All right, let's finish all the buildings. So the first one is shooting sports. So shooting sports is going to be down here near the pond. So there should be a shooting range right here, and then just like a little archery thing right here. So we're just going to make some more boxes. We're going to bring out a cube. Drop that cube down. Let's go ahead and attach this to the surface. And we're going to scale this lengthwise and then make it a little bit bigger. A little bit wider. And let's move it back up and drop it down. Oh, yeah, we want to put a mannequin down too so we can have some accurate scaling going on. I feel like that's pretty good. That's good for now. And then we'll drop in another shape, another cube. And this is just like a little shed, so we're just going to make this a little smaller. And while I'm here, I'm going to clean up this road because it's driving me nuts. So I'm going to drop into landscape mode. And I'm just going to smooth out this road a little bit. And what it should do is bring it closer to the road. Smooth. Maybe. Oh, it's painting. Okay, sculpt. There we go. Right, that's good. I'm gonna also move the side of the hill here closer to the road. So we'll just use the flatten tool to do that. Oh God, that looks really bad. I'm gonna erase some of this. Definitely just screwed that up. Let me just go back. Yeah, I think since adding all this texture to the environment, it's slowing things down considerably. So I might have to think about some alternatives here. Like maybe I'll remove some of the grass, I think. Just so that things work a little quicker because it's getting kind of choppy, which I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, definitely need to clean that up. Flatten this out. All right, and then we'll smooth that over. Get that looking a little bit better. There we go. Make the brush size just a tad smaller. And bring that out. There we go. And we'll smooth that over once more. All right, I'll clean that up soon. I'm gonna leave that as is. I'll clean it up later. Okay, so we got shooting sports. We got our archery. That's not what I wanted to do. Delete phone link because don't want people seeing my text. All right. So what was I wanting to do? Oh, I think I'm going to remove some of the landscape paint. I think I can just erase some of the paint that's going on here. I'm going to test that by coming way out here. Flatten, smooth, select. Maybe not. I guess I can't take off any paint. Let me look this up real quick. How to erase paint on real landscape. All right, so I think I just need to click this subtractive blend. Nope, maybe not. Uh-oh. No, I don't think that's it. I'll unclick it. What if I hold down Shift and paint? Not gonna work. It doesn't work. Can I add a layer? And then just have this be null. All right, let's assign the paint layer. Assign it there. And just call this like none. Click it. Will it just remove all the paint? Yes. Okay, it does. Basically, there's just like too much going on. So I'm going to remove some of this paint, and hopefully that's going to help. With some of the rendering that's going on, it's just taking a while. Okay, how does that look? Is it working? Yeah, it's kind of working. I just want to speed up a little bit because everything's running very slow. And I think it's this paint layer because ever since I edited and painted everything, it like started going nuts. Change my camera speed here to go a little faster. All right, I'm gonna save everything just to cover my ass if it decides to drop out again. Let's probably make this tool strength a little higher. And I'm just kind of assuming that this is going to help my computer out a little, but I don't know. And that this texture is kind of hard to randomize. There's a lot of calculations going on. See, it's just sitting here trying to figure out what it wants to do. All right, there we go. All right, let's do just a little bit more. And then we'll go back over to camp and put some dikes on the wall. And I think I said whenever I was closing out my stream, I want to calculate what the actual width of the dike wall is, and then put down um, assets that are true to width for the dike wall. All right, that's good for now. We unpainted some of the landscape. Oh no. Yeah, so this is what it looks like uh, if Unreal Engine crashes. But basically, my GPU, which is really not that strong, um, crashes and runs out of memory for the video card. So basically, everything just crashed, so I gotta spin it back up. This happens from time to time. So I'm just gonna go back into Unreal. Let me just X out of Unreal. And we'll restart Unreal here. Launch the engine again. I think it's loading. Oh, it definitely loaded twice. Cancel one of these. And this is basically the log here that's saying, your GPU crashed. I don't need to send anything because I know what happened. My GPU memory uh, is not very high. So what it does is it fills all these assets into the RAM of the GPU. And if there's too many assets, then it tries to render them all at once. Then it just runs out of memory and it crashes. I guess I could show you some of the other projects. This is some of the things I've been working on to learn how to like build stuff. But we're in SPSR 2 right now. All right. So we need to open our new level, which is this one, this really long one here. So we'll open that. Okay. What's funny is I repainted all this landscape and basically removed all this, all the grass to basically mitigate a GPU crash, and of course now it crashes. So we're just on our way back to camp, and all of our tents that we made earlier are not there anymore. So that's freaking awesome. Love that. Wonder why they're not there. Did I have to save them? Are they hidden? Is that what crashed? I don't know. Are they in my outliner? Well, they're there, but they're all upside down. Or they're not. Actually, I don't know what is going on, but they do not exist. All right. I'll deal with that later. We're going to put some dike walls in here. So let's go calculate the width of a dike wall. Colorado dike wall, Spanish peaks. And I'm really just looking up some data about the dike wall, but I don't see any. Oh, here it is. National landmark. Igneous dike walls. I just want to know the width. Great Dikes. Okay, that doesn't say the width. Maybe this PDF from USGS would have the width. Structure, thrust, folds, joints, sedimentary rock, intrusive bodies, dikes. Page 13. Folds, joints. It's not a thrust, is it? It's just a, it's just like a cavity that magma came through. Wonder if this paper has anything about general features of igneous rocks. Dike. Let's search for dike. Find dike. Okay, it's a radial dike. Page 41, I like that. Let's go see what that one looks like. This is pretty good information, but it's very dense. I don't really need to read this all. I really just want to know what the width of these things are. I don't know, they're pretty thick, aren't they? Aren't they like 40 feet wide? I wonder if Google Earth will give us an idea. So maybe this one here. And we could just calculate the distance. So first point to second point, it's 4.43 meters. So within Unreal, we basically need to go let's do 4.5 meters. So let's add shape, and I think a sphere is going to be good, and I'll show you why. I think it's going to be good because we can make it really thin like this and like really long. Kind of make it into dikes. You know what I mean? And then do something like this. It's really big features. Remove snapping so that I can get a little more precise. All right. All right. So how thin is this? That's pretty stinking thin. Let's make it a little wider. But how wide does that get us? Well, let's snap to the world. Snap to the world and then move this to 90 degrees. Okay, that's exactly 90 degrees. So then all we have to do is go top, and then we go find our sphere. And then we just have to calculate this width here because we're looking at it like straight down. So to calculate the width, we just hold down our scroll wheel and we pull this way. And remember, we were about 4.5 meters, I think, is what we said. Yeah, 4.5 meters. So these are centimeters. Of course, there's 100 centimeters in a meter, so we just need to be a little bit bigger than this, at least at the biggest portion. All right, that's probably good. I don't know if I like an oval. I think I want a block. I think instead of sphere, we're going to do cube. All right, there we go. Switch it to cube. And that is the exact thickness of the dike wall. And we could calculate this again, make sure we're correct. Okay, that's about 5, so that's a little bigger. Um, Let's make it just a tad bit smaller. Just a teeny bit smaller. Okay, there we go. All right. Now we're going to rotate this because it's a little bit off kilter. And then we're going to drop this right down there like that. And let's move this down. And honestly, I'm probably going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to put a bunch of these down. I'm going to probably duplicate these. Just so long I'm in the same plane as the world. Or actually the same plane as itself. That's what I want. Okay, so I just toggled it the same plane. And I'm going to duplicate. And I'm going to move that duplicate over. And move it down. And I'm going to duplicate. Move that over. And I'm going to duplicate. Move that over. We'll just do kind of this stair stepper thing maybe. Keep duplicating. Move that over. And these are all called spheres in my outliner. I'm going to rename them to dike wall. So dike one. And this one's going to be dike two. Actually, that one is hidden, so I'm going to remove that one. This one will be dike two. That will be dike three. This one, dike four. And then in my editor outliner, I'm going to scroll up. And within my areas, I'm going to create a new subfolder. I'm going to call this dikes. I'm going to close all these other ones because they're kind of taking up space. So many campsites. I might just move all these into campsites. Create subfolder campsites. And then let's move all of our campsites into campsites. That way we can just close campsites. And then dikes. I'm going to move all of our dikes into dikes. And then let's change the material on this. Instead of white, let's do rock. And I'm trying to remember how to do that. I think it's castle assets, texture. No, material. And then let's see if this castle asset has a rock type. I don't see one. I think I made one, or I think I downloaded one earlier. Oh, by the way, let's go ahead and save so that we don't lose our progress. I think I downloaded a rock texture earlier, so I need to go locate that. I'm gonna find it in my content drawer. Spacer, content, texture. No, that's not it. Let's try the fab. Dirty rock wall scan. It's not a scan. It's because it's a mesh. Rock cliff lidar. Maybe I didn't. Let's go to fab and see if we can find a rock texture that's suitable for the dike wall. Rock. We're gonna go to materials and textures. Let's go free. Let's do rock cliff. Yeah, I'm building a wall on the map. Oh, we got someone else coming in. Hey there. Basically, I'm building a dike wall, a, a big wall at Boy Scout camp. All right, this rock cliff looks pretty cool. I think that looks like a dike wall if I ever seen one. I have seen a few. We're gonna take this at medium quality because I don't think my computer has enough room to do high quality at this point. All right, so we're going to add this material onto these blocks. And this should have just changed these blocks to stone, and look at that, it definitely is. So that's cool. That's going to be the placeholder for now. And I think I'm going to move all these back just slightly. Like that. And then I might rotate them a little bit and move them up. Like that. And to be honest, I'm probably going to have to deform the ground a little bit so that this wall is more prominent. So I'll probably have to subtract this wall and then leave these here. So I think what I'll do is actually move these down and then do this. And we'll probably put actual rock scans down here whenever we go to make this look real. This is just a placeholder for now. All right, let's duplicate that. Move this all the way over here. What's cool is it's in the same exact plane. Like all of these are going to be lined up the same way. Because like geologically, they're all in the same plane. And this map comes directly from, geological data. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. We need to go down. All right, let's move that over here. And we'll just bring that down slightly. Okay, we'll duplicate that. We move this a little bit out front. Looks like it's a little bit off. And then I'm probably going to rotate it just slightly. Let's bring it out. Yeah, that looks good. Duplicate that one. I think this was one here too. that one, move it there. Duplicate it again, move it there. All right, so this one's a really long one, and it's really just in one line. So I think I'm going to straighten this up just slightly. And then I'm going to translate this sort of to the middle, move it down. And then I'm going to make this really long. And let's rotate it just ever so slightly. We'll keep it going pretty long. And let's move it down. All right, that looks cool. We're going to duplicate this one, move it all the way down. Move that back. Duplicate it again, move it down. And let's just elongate this one. And move it down. All right. Let's save our level because we're at risk of crashing. All right, I have a rough outline of the dikes. Um, what to do now? Let's see. Let's look at my list. Create dike wall, did this, that's completed. All right, we did shooting sports, completed. We did archery, completed. Oh, the shop building. Is it called the shop? I can't remember what we called it back in the day. It was like right next to the pond. Utility building, something like that. I'm gonna go into landscape mode, and I'm gonna build up this berm here. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna flatten. Well, I guess I'll just build this up here. And then let's flatten that. Because it was kind of a dam. And that looks terrible. So we're gonna smooth it out. And I'm kind of getting tired of this volume here for the lake. So we're going to go ahead and introduce a new concept here, which is water. I'm very excited about this. I've been wanting to put down water for a long time. So just saved everything and want to go into our plugins. I'm trying to remember how to get to plugins. I think it's world settings. No, it's project settings. How do I get to project settings? Project settings. Edit. Project settings. And then plugins. That's not it. Plugins, here it is. Plugins, water. Looks like we have water enabled, so that's good. I'm going to basically put a water item down here. So I'm going to go to all, I'm going to go water, and I'm going to do lake. And this might be a little big. You can always change the spline, change the lake size with the splines. Let it render in. It's taking a moment. Okay, there we go. That is way too big. So I'm going to move this in. And move this one as well. That's pretty cool. It just like automatically makes a pond for you, which is pretty accurate, not gonna lie. I'm gonna move this guy up, and then I'm gonna sculpt. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, a little bit taller over here. Just sculpting, and we'll smooth that out. And actually, we should probably flatten it, because the shooting range is basically right up against the dike wall. Not like crazy close, but something like that. And then we'll flatten this out. Something like that. That looks amazing. Put this over. Got this little piece in here in the middle. Flatten that out. All right. Save all that. Okay. Nice. All right, so let me fix this water here. This water's kind of bleeding out the side. And I think I can edit the Actually, I don't know how to edit that. I'll deal with that later. I need to do some more research on how to edit that. I'm gonna get some chips. I'm really hungry. 1 second. I'm back. All right. Sorry, I'm gonna be eating chips, and I'm eating chips with a pair of chopsticks so that I don't get my keyboard all gross. All right, so we just made a pond over there. We're gonna make another one right here, and I'm gonna put the pond down first because I don't know exactly where this pond should go without this oval. Let's see if that works. I should be able to make another item. Yeah, there we go, another spline. Just by holding down Control, or Alt rather. And I can rotate this item, the shore. And then I'm gonna move this in. It should work. Seems like it might be. There we go. It's just needs to be prompted. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this volume, and we should be left with our lake. Cool. Another Control S, save our progress. Well, that's my water. Okay, so we have this lake here, and these waves are like way too high. So I'm gonna make them a little smaller. Okay, that's way too big. Sure, we'll go with that. All right, let's do some painting. I think we're gonna paint on some dirt. It seems the best thing to do around a lake. To be honest, we should probably go ahead and paint all the roads. There's like mini trails, you know, like going to different places. Not there, that's for sure. You paint that grass back on. Okay. So I think like right over here. I don't know if it got that close to the lake. More like this. Actually, this is the road, right? Yeah, I think this was the road. Let's look at the Google Earth. I might be getting mixed up here. Okay, so there's this line which let me put these side by side. Okay, so we got the lake, and then this, yeah, this road right here is actually this one. And then I already have this road here, which is the one that goes in front. So I basically don't need to print on this one here. So I'm just gonna erase some of this. Get rid of some of that. Which means flagpoles are not right here. Flagpoles are actually like right up in here on the other side of this road. Okay, so flagpoles are gonna move like right up here. That seem right? Let's move our poles. Select all three of these. Then we're gonna move them. I'm gonna move them like right over here. That seems a little better. Like right over there. And we'll put some trees down. It'll become a little more obvious. But I think this is the road that goes kind of in front. And then that means that this campsite here is not where it's supposed to be. It's actually supposed to be back over here, I think. This is campsite 5. Yeah, campsite 5. So let's move these 3 tents, which we can't actually see right now. Let's move them over here. Right here. This is campsite 5. And let's paint on the campsite 5 in dirt. Make the brush a little bit bigger. There we go. And then we're going to change this back to grass over here. Okay. And then I'm going to blend this up a little bit right here, smooth it out. Okay, so flagpoles are roughly right there. Now what I wanted to do was basically put down dirt on all these roads. That is terrible. I'm gonna undo that. The reason I want to put dirt down is because like these roads are really dirty. And we could fill it in with bushes later, so it's not as jarring. Ooh, we got the super zoom. super camera. Okay. I wonder if I can flatten out this area here for the parking lot. Let's try that. The parking lot was kind of like right here. So let's just go ahead and flatten this. And we'll flatten with the sculpt. All right, so that's going to be the parking lot. And I'm going to go ahead and paint this in with dirt as well. Okay, and then I'm going to smooth everything up. And I should be able to use a bigger brush this time. Maybe not that big, but something like that. Just to blend it all in. And control save because I'm a little worried right now about crashing. All right, now it looks a lot better. It's not as jarring. And this is kind of how it'll go. We'll just kind of texture the terrain, massage the terrain, make it look a little nicer, maybe move some things around until it looks more accurate. And this is the tedious part of it, is like everything needs to be pretty much in the right spot. You have to continually like come back and move and tweak. Okay. Control save that. Sorry, I need to text a friend really quick. Okay. See what's next on the list. Oh, shop building. We didn't even make the shop building. All right. The shop building was like right over here, on the other side of this pond, like right here. So let's go ahead and flatten this area out. There was a pretty big yard over here too, where there was like a lot of trash and like a dumpster. So I'm gonna make this yard fairly big. Okay, go to selection mode, and we'll drop in another cube, and we'll scale this cube up, and we'll make this a little longer, something like that. And we'll move it up. And this will be the shop. And let's make another one for the dumpster. So I think in this game it'd be fun to put like a bear jumping into the dumpster. This could probably be a little smaller. Okay. Let me fix the road really quick with the smooth. Okay. That's best I'll do for now. I'll clean that up at some point. Certainly not need to be doesn't need to be perfect. Also, the computer I'm running on is not going to be able to sculpt very easily there. Eat some pickles. All right. Shop building completed. Dumpster by the shop completed. Staff shower house. So we don't really have staff quarters marked out. Let's go ahead and do that. And let's get our handy dandy Google Earth out here. And let's see what this looks like. And then on the left side, we'll put this. Oh, this actually curves up instead of down, but that's okay. We'll fix that in post. Um, so looks like there's actually another road that kind of curves up here. So somewhere like right here, we need to make another road. I'm gonna go ahead and spline this. And let's make another spline. Like right up here. And let's just have it come up here. And it'll curve to the right. And basically go right into there. All right, so I'm going to change this to 500. Oh, that's right, I need to select all of these. I learned this earlier. You select all these points. And then change this to 500. And the drop off to 100. And then I deform all splines. And should be it. Okay. So let's go back to paint. And let's put staff quarters up here. Oh, you know what I just realized? We also need to put down our road. Okay. How did I do this? I think I went to mesh and I added an element. And then I go to my content drawer and I go and find that road. Country roads, textures, no, materials. Oh, it's mesh. That's right. It's mesh. And then it was dirt road 3. It's dirt road 2. Dirt road 3. What does dirt road 2 look like? Kind of curious. Let me add that to there. See if that looks any better. Oh, that actually looks fairly good. There's too much green going on though. I don't think there's that much green, which is why I chose dirt road 3. Let's see if that looks any different. That's still more green. I didn't even realize that. What about this one? It's cobblestone. No, we don't need that. Okay, we'll just stick with dirt road 3 or maybe 2. Let's mix it up. We'll just leave it as 2 up here. All right, so staff road gets a little bit different of a dirt road. And then let's paint on dirt for staff, just so we know that this is a different area of difference. Oh, there's a campfire right here too. That's right. Like closing campfire, I think, or opening campfire maybe was up here. All right. Just gonna smooth this up. Good. And then let's go to sculpt, flatten, and make the brush a little smaller. And we're gonna flatten this right here. And we're going to put our shower house right here. So we'll go back to selection. And we're going to put our cube right there. And the first thing we do is we blow up the cube. And then let's elongate it because the cube is a little long. Yeah, see, it's a little bit longer. And then let's move it up. Let's move it over and then set it down. Okay. How does that look with a mannequin? Let's drop a character down. Oh geez, that's huge. See, this is why we drop mannequins down. Okay, that seems better. I need to fix this sculpting here at the ground and the road, but I'll get to that soon. Okay, staff shower house is completed. Let's go do the medical lodge. And I control S so I can save everything. Oh, I forgot I already did the medical lodge. I also already did the chapel. Now we need to do the girls' cabin, which was right over here. Pretty sure it was right here. These pickles are so good. So snaps. All right. Let's go ahead and flatten the landscape. I feel like there was a river running over here, and there was like a little meadow thing, and like some benches, and a couple other things here. So I'm just gonna extend this out a little bit bigger. You got some freeze-dried apples or pineapple from the farmer's market? Nice. Rachel went to the farmer's market this morning as well. I was just on the phone with her earlier. She got some gluten-free crepes, maybe. All right, let's drop in another cube where the cabin is. First things first, we're going to make it bigger. We're going to move it up. And let's see if Google Earth even has the cabin. Okay, it does. So it's kind of this like L shape, maybe T shape. So let's put down a mannequin. And we're going to drop that down. And because this is the women's cabin, we're going to put down a queen so that we know how big our perspective is. I'm going to drop my camera down so I can move around a little slower. I feel like that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and bump this out. And we'll make this sort of look like the cabin. Kind of looks like a T shape. And this area might be a little bit bigger, so let's maybe make this box just slightly bigger. Said slightly bigger. All right, and then we'll move that to the right. All right, I think that's fine. Okay, so for some of these buildings, I say we go ahead and like map them with different texture. So let's find another texture in the fab. Not a texture, but a material. I'm still learning the names of all these, but material, not material. What am I thinking? Log cabin material. Let's see if that shows up. And we need a material, wooden log wall. That is perfect. Let's do medium quality. And let's look at our material here. All right. So I'm going to move this over to the other page, my other screen. And I'm just going to show you what I'm doing here, and we'll get the viewport in. So I have my outliner here, and if I click on one of these, like let's say this one, you can see that's that it's white, of course, but if I click on it, I can change the material here. So I'm just going to drop this material onto there, and yeah, that looks like a log cabin. We're going to do the same thing here. And we'll do the same thing here. And that's just going to be our placeholder for now. Yeah, let's Control S. And we'll save all. All right. I also want to see if we can throw some cars down. Let's see if we can find some low poly cars. Let's go to our fab. Put this up to 5 so I can zoom around a little easier. Let's put some cars in our parking lot. So let's go to our fab marketplace. Yeah, let's just search car. And Generic sedan car. How big is this? Not for Unreal. Okay. I'm fine with that. Red car. How does this look? Not available for Unreal. I should put one of these like funky, like pimp my ride cars in here. Low poly sports car. Not available with Unreal. Dang it. These are great. Sports car? Yeah, this one's low poly. It's a Lamborghini. Sure. Or is this a Ferrari? I don't know. Let's drop some sports cars down. And let's put a mannequin down just so we have some reference. Yeah, I think it's a little too big. It seems a little more accurate. I'm gonna make that adhere to the surface so whenever I move in, it goes right next to the car. This might need to be a little bit smaller. Just a tad. Said smaller. Let me lock these. It's a little bit smaller over here on another screen. I can do this a little more better. Okay. It seems about right. Okay. I'm gonna duplicate some of these, move them around. And we have a lot of expensive sports cars up at camp this year. Must be all those Texans, millionaire Texans. I'm gonna grab all of these. And I think I can move them all at once, which means I can rotate them all at once. And we always back into our parking spots. Don't we? It would be nice if these were a little more uniform, right? I think they were used to like put them in rows. Okay. um, so Abby, you want a truck? I think that would make more sense. We definitely had a fair share of pickup trucks at camp. What about this one? Not available for use in Unreal. That sucks. Ooh, this truck looks awesome. Not available for Unreal. Vehicle variety. Whoa. Yeah, I'll add this. Oh, I haven't seen this before. I don't know what it is, but let's accept it. Right. I already did this. Let's see. Did it add it to the project? Vehicle variety pack, Switchboard Studios. Didn't download for some reason. I don't see it in here. Oh well. Maybe it'll show up. It might be downloading still, but okay. That's our parking lot for now. Um, let's take a look at our list, see what else we got. We placed the tents, but the tents were being weird, so I need to do some learning on how to uh, like place the tents accurately. So I'm gonna come back to this one. Oh yeah, we have two staff cabins, so let's go place those up top. Oh, we'll get the second girls' cabin, I think, too. Here pretty soon. Okay, so there was a cabin here, and there was a cabin over here. Oops. And scale all the elements and make it a little bit longer and not as tall. Then we'll move it up and drop it down. And I'm probably going to have to flatten this area out, which I will do now while I'm here. We'll flatten out where the cabin should be. So we got to sculpt and then flatten. And let's make our brush just a tiny bit smaller. Let's flatten this. I think maybe the cabin was a, nah, that's a good spot. We'll stick with that. And we'll just do that. And then the other cabin was right over here. So we'll flatten this out as well. We'll go to selection and then drop it down. Duplicate, move that over here. Bring it up, drop it down. It's still a little bit off, right? That's weird. I think what I need to do is drag it. And there we go. That's more like it. And I'll bring it up, drop it down. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with this item. With this cabin, I'm gonna drop a log cabin material on top of it. So with that selected, I see my material here. I go to content drawer. I go to wherever that was. Megascan, surface. Nope, that's not it. Where was that located? Medieval wooden latrine, medieval modular fence, picnic table. I'm looking for the like log cabin one that we used. I know what I can do. I can go up to the cube. Let me go locate it. Okay, so this cube is located where? It's in Megascan surfaces, wooden log. Okay, so then we'll go focus on this item next and just drag that onto there. And we'll do the same with this one. Drag that onto there. Okay, so those cabins are done. This is a metal building. So let's go find a metal corrugated building material for created material. And let's look for material. So this is plaster metal. That was some other thing. What is this? That's just a bunch of random metals. Gray pavement. Not that. Let's see if one of these doesn't seem like it. Let's try metal building. Material. Here we go. One of these looks pretty good. Yeah, let's do metal material. Sure. So with this selected, I'm going to wait for this to download. And then I'll put the metal material on top of it. Meanwhile, let's go check off our box here for completed of the staff shower and cabins. We get the women's cabin, and then next is the girls' cabin. So let me just put this metal on. Then we'll go do the girls' cabin. I like this one. I think that's good. Let's drop it on, see what it looks like. Yeah. You know, it's not absolutely horrid. I think that's a good start. Um, All right, let's go place the girls' cabin. And to be honest, I don't really remember exactly where it was. Is it across the river? We don't really have a river yet, but you know, we can kind of approximate. So let's add a cube. And let's scale it up. And scale it out. Maybe make it a little smaller. And then move it up and drop it down. All right, just on the other side of the creek. I'm gonna add another quin over here. And that might need to be a little wider. Maybe 30 feet between the front doors. Okay. Well, we can certainly calculate that. I know the front door was here, and then maybe here. 30 feet. 30 feet, 2 meters is. Let's go. Let's go 10 meters. We go top perspective. And if we go down here, zoom out, and go down. It's about 10 meters, so let's say that's 25. It's 25 meters. So let's move this a little closer. Okay, 10 meters would be there. Whoa. Yeah, that's good enough. Something like that. Seems pretty close to the road. Let me move all these over. And maybe up. Okay. And then I think the creek kind of went right under this, uh, right under this road here. I haven't quite figured out how to do creeks or like rivers yet, so I need to spend some time learning that. But that'll be a good thing for next time. We can start adding some more of the environment. Okay, let's check our list. I think I have everything I wanted to get done today. Girls' cabin completed. All the areas are sectioned off, all the campsites are accounted for, and we created volumetric boxes for the dikes. So let's just like add a bunch of trees and see what happens. Kind of wanting to like load this thing up with trees. So I really like trees and foliage because it's pretty cool. And there's this tool called foliage, which allows you to like paint on trees and shrubs and plants basically. And so I say we just add a whole bunch of trees like right up here because there was like a ton of trees. So let's just like test this out. So I saved everything. If it crashes, we have all of our progress thus far. But what we do is we open up our content drawer and we're gonna go find um, our Ponderosa pine. And I'm gonna start with the billboard because it's very low res and like my computer can probably handle it. But if we look at that, we can see that we have one tree selected. And so all I have to do is brush on and we can see we instantly paint just like a ton of trees. Now, this is pretty impractical because those trees are not that dense. The forest is not that dense. Um, so we're gonna have to lower the density. But one thing I'm gonna do first is move the player start to my current camera location. And this is gonna allow me to try and play if it doesn't crash. Oh geez. Try and play, yeah, with some trees around. And these these billboard trees have no collision, so I can run right through them. But they have shadows, which is pretty cool. And if I change the uh, density, then it will look a lot better. So we're going to exit our player game. Also, these trees are all the same height, which looks really unnatural. So we're going to add some variability in these trees as well. I kind of want to get rid of this uh, this like film thing here too. This is really bothering me. I do not know where it's coming from. Um, is it lighting? Let me see. Directional lighting. Okay, for sure, it only turns on whenever the light happens. Uh, it's not the fog. Oh, it's the sky atmosphere. Okay. Well, what happens if I see if I shut off the sky atmosphere, then that like line hue thing goes away. You see that line right here? Like I need to get rid of that. So how do I do that? I guess I'll just start clicking buttons here. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll snap these details here on the right side so you can see. Um, but if I select sky atmosphere and I shut it off, then that goes away. So something needs to change. Ground radius, what is that? Maybe if I leave that at 1, that goes away. Ew. Okay, I take that back. That looks terrible. Atmospheric height. That's not it. Okay. What about this? This is a color of some sort. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, I just need to change the alpha on here. So to do that, um, I need this value. No. This is the Rayleigh scattering. I'm going to change that back to default. All right, let me Google this. This is the Rayleigh atmosphere. So Unreal Rayleigh atmosphere issue. I don't know what to call it. Turns out my landscape figured out. Oh, maybe I have an additional directional light under my landscape. Let me search the outliner. Directional light. Nope, only got one directional light. Maybe I have an extra sky. Atmosphere. Atmosphere. Nope, just one. All right, well, let's keep maybe changing these numbers here and see what will happen. It's not that. Um, yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it's really bothering me, especially rendering trees. It's just looking weird. What happens if I just make it invisible? Does it make the sky go away? Yeah, it kind of does. I really want the sky. Maybe it's like a distance thing. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, I think that was it. That looks a little better. Hmm, maybe put that there. All right, cool. Pretty happy with that. All right, I'm gonna move my outliner and my details back to my other page so that I can see them side by side. Um, all right, let's get rid of these trees and we're gonna reduce the mesh. So we're gonna erase and then we're going to erase them all. And we're gonna reduce the mesh density. So we go to paint and then we click on our tree here and we change our tree density to 1 or maybe 10. Let's see what 10 looks like. All right, that's still pretty thick. And if we play our game, does it absolutely look like too many trees? I don't know, honestly. It doesn't look awful, but I think it's too many trees. This is looking so cool. I love adding trees. It really brings so much more to the game with having trees. Like I cannot wait to put more trees in here. Another thing I'm noticing is that this tree right here is like bent to the side. I need to actually make the tree uh, like vertical aligned to normal. Um, and I think I need to uncheck that maybe. Let me try that. Let me erase this. And we're going to reduce this down to 5. And then let's paint on some more trees with paint. That seems a little better. And look at that. So I unchecked the align to normal, and we're not having any weird trees falling outside of the normal physics of trees where they grow straight up and down. And if we play the game, does this seem a little more appropriate for the tree distribution? I think so. At least for the Ponderosa pine. So, yeah, the low polys are not like terrible. I think they look pretty good. Um, but I'm really curious what these look like with the full-fledged tree. And I'm totally willing to let the game crash. So let's give this a try. I'm gonna save everything and we'll see if it's really laggy or how laggy it is. Save all. And then in our foliage, we're going to uncheck the Ponderosa billboard. And we're going to come into our lone or our pine here, and we're going to put in the full one. And I'm going to put this density down to 1 just to be, yeah, you said you like the ability to change the density of the trees in certain areas. Yeah, exactly. Like I think that's whenever I was watching this tutorial last week, I watched like a 5-hour tutorial on how to do like foliage, and I was like, this is amazing. I cannot wait to paint trees. So I've been like waiting for this moment because, you know, you're not going to have the same distribution of trees everywhere. Um, it's all going to be, different. So, all right. So I'm just going to click some trees down, and oh my God, that density is way too high. Eek. Oh no. Paint density is actually right here instead of down here on this new tree. Oh, maybe I didn't change that. That's right. I didn't change that. Okay. I'm going to quickly erase these before it kills my computer. I need to click that, and then I need to change the density to 1. And then I'll go back to painting, and there we go. That's a little better. And if we play this, what does it look like? And honestly, we could use more density, but I think that's good. Now you notice these trees are all pointing at an angle. That's because we need to select the align to normal off. That way they all stand straight up and they look more normal. So we're also going to change the variability in these trees. So if we click on this lone Ponderosa pine, we are going to leave our density to 1, but we're going to randomize a few things. The first one is going to be scaling. Yeah, I need to make sure I have the right thing selected here. Painting density radius, single instance, scaling. Okay, so we have the scale X as 1 to 1, but let's make this 0.7 to 1.3. Then let's paint on some more trees and see what this looks like. So if we select paint, then what we should have is some variability in the size of tree. See that? How some of them are a little bit shorter. Also, they're all standing up vertical now, which is really good. While I'm here, I'm going to change the angle of the sun to see what these trees look like in the evening. And I think they need to be a little more dense, just slightly, but yeah, I think those are good. Um, all right, let's add another piece of foliage to this paintbrush. And this one is going to be the juvenile Ponderosa pine. And we're just going to drag it into there. And same thing, we're going to click on this. We're going to change the density to 1. Actually, it kind of makes sense to maybe put it to 0.5, and then we'll leave this density maybe to 2, just a little more. And then we need to align to the physical world instead of to normal. And then we're going to scale from 0.8 to 1.2. All right, so let's go ahead and paint on a little bit more here. And really the trees make this whole thing like really come together. I'm going to shift my sun to be in the morning so that we get some really cool long shadows. It's interesting, these trees, whenever you're far away, they look basically like they don't have leaves, almost like there was a forest fire, but um, I think I can change the LOD um, to be different whenever it's far away. So I'll figure out how to do that at some point. But yeah, let's go ahead and play this. And what we should have is a little bit of juvenile trees dispersed with some like adult ponderosa pines. Sure enough, that's what we see. And the frame rate's really bad because we're using like really good trees, and um, my computer's not a gaming PC. But yeah, I think this is starting to really come together. Like, I love these trees, and I paid like $7 for this tree. I think though, just to keep things a little, uh, just to keep things a little more resource uh, conservative, I'm gonna go ahead and do the billboard trees. So we're gonna select everything here, and we're gonna erase it all, and then we're gonna put in the billboard juvenile tree and the lone tree, so that it looks a little bit better everywhere we go. And I think we don't have LOD for that, so it'll be a little bit better. Okay, align to normal is good. The density, we could probably bump this up to like 4, maybe 5. And then let's drop our juvenile billboard in here as well. It's going to be up here. And then we'll select the juvenile billboard. And let's put this at 0.8 to 1.2. And we'll put the juvenile at maybe a 2 density. We'll put this at 0.8 to 1.2. And then take off line to normal. And we need to just select the billboards. We go to paint, and let's paint them all. I almost like the billboards a little bit more, at least for this far away. It actually renders correctly. But yeah, that's so cool. Like it's still rendering, and that's amazing. I now want to just paint everything on the mountain. Oh my god, where did the mountain go? What the heck? Alright, I need to investigate this. This is not cool. Let me fly around a little more because I need to see what's going on up here. Did it just like flatten the whole mountain? It looks like this box is kind of stipulating where that goes. That is so weird. What the heck? Um, honestly, I don't know what that is. Is it the uh, atmosphere? Is that what's going on? If I change this, nope. Oh, is it the post-processing box maybe? Um, maybe I don't have a post-processing box. Yeah, I need to investigate this. What is this box thing? Can I click it? Yeah, I can. Okay, this is the water zone. For some reason, this water zone is clipping my whole entire mountain. Well, that's weird. Huh. Um, well, I'll have to figure that out at some point. That's really upsetting that the mountain doesn't exist anymore. Um, anyways, let's go ahead and paint some trees. What I was going to do was I was going to show the actual height map and the rendering of the satellite image. I'm trying to remember how I did that. I think I click on landscape. Oh, and then I go to my instance material. And I'm gonna save everything just so we have it. Um, and in the details pane, I can change to show the emissive, which is going to be the actual overlay of the satellite image. And then if I move my light to be nighttime, I can see a little better where perhaps there are trees. And these trees are basically going to show up here wherever there's green, right? So I can just start painting trees up on the mountain, which is what was hoping to do. But now the mountain's all cut off, so that sucks. But yeah, I could just start painting all these trees up here. And I'm gonna make my brush size a lot bigger because I have a lot more trees ready to go. And so now I'm just painting on these trees wherever I see fit. And it hasn't crashed yet, so that's good. All right. Make the brush size a little bit smaller. And then get some trees right here. And I know it looks really awful right now, but it will look better once I put the skylight on and I remove all this. Um, all the satellite image stuff. Okay, and then we're gonna kind of disperse some trees around here. Maybe put some around here. And do that. Now let's change the paint density. See what that looks like. Yeah. Throw some trees along the edge. Put some trees in the campsite. Put some trees around here. Some trees along here. Some random trees around the lagoon. Trees here. I need to take those out. Okay, we're gonna put the density back on to a bunch, and we're just gonna load up, turn this brush up a little bit, and we're gonna paint all of Bear Valley. This Bear Valley was very dense in trees until you got to the actual valley, I guess. So you can see right here where the valley starts. And then Eagles Rock is like right up here. We can look out at the valley, see all the trees, and then the valley out there. So I'm going to paint on all these trees. And make the brush size a little smaller. And then let's change the density pretty low towards the edge here, so it looks like it has a really nice transition between the valley and that. And I think there were some trees kind of up along the ridge, kind of dispersed around. It kind of came down like this. And I'm going to bump this back up. Maybe spread out right here. There's a little clover cluster. All right, and then let's make the density back to 0.5. And we'll make the brush just a little bigger. And we'll paint on this coming into camp. All right. And I know there was a fair amount of trees up here, but let's change the brush density to be a little less. I know camp had some trees on the south side. And I know this ridge had some trees. Okay. Um, I wonder if we have some aspens because we're forgetting aspens. Uh, Pretty sure we had a bunch of aspens like around the creek. Aspen trees. Price is free. Let's see. Don't see any obvious aspen trees. I know there was probably a bunch there that I had to pay for. So let's look for the paid aspens. Oh yeah, these are really nice aspens. These are 15 bucks a piece. That's crazy. Not sure if I have that much that I'm willing to pay for this quite yet, but we can zoom in and see what this aspen looks like. And it looks pretty darn good. Uh, we get, uh, yeah, it's a pretty big aspen. I might consider this later. I'm gonna put that in my wish list. Add to wish list. That's pretty nice. Okay, let's just add a few more trees here. I'm gonna take down the density a lot, and we're just gonna paint on some smaller density trees. And I think that's good. Let's maybe put some more trees. Same thing, smaller density, just like kind of within this area here. And maybe up here. Change the brush size, I think right around the commissary there were some trees. Certainly right here there were some trees. And then up near Staff Row there was a bunch of trees. Kind of all along the road up here there was trees. I think there were some trees right up here. Definitely some trees right here. And we're going to bump up the paint density pretty thick because there was a lot of trees on the south side of camp. Basically right underneath the staff cabins, there was like a ton of trees. Right above them, there was a ton of trees. And this looks pretty dark, so we'll add trees there. Oh, I need to put the Sally cabin in, which goes right here. So I'm going to leave a little bare spot for them. Certainly a lot of trees up here. Um, yeah, and I keep painting some trees because there was a bunch up here. And don't worry, I'll turn on the light so that we can actually see what all these trees look like. I'm gonna make my brush bigger because now we're getting into the thick of it. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and control save because I've been painting a lot of trees lately and I don't want my game to crash. All right, I'll go ahead and render some of these trees out and maybe walk around, check out some things, see how different angles look. I really hate that the mountain cut off. I wish I could show that really quick, but don't know why. Don't know why it cut off. I'm just gonna get these painted because the trees basically butt up right next to this dike wall. Oops, let me remove that. And I just did a mega zoom. Okay, there we go. Make the brush just a little bit smaller. And paint on some trees in between these dikes. Keep painting right in front of the dike. Okay. And then we'll add a few trees here. Let's change the density. All right. Let's turn our light back on. So we're going to move to maybe the morning time. And let's also shut off our emissive, which is the, I'm calling it the emissive, but it's basically the satellite image. And we're going to turn on our paint layer, which is what we put down. So let's go ahead and play camp, see what things look like. And I think this dropped me over by the trading post. So here's the trading post. This is the road to go up, and I'm going to see if I can change my lighting because it's pretty bright. How if I do this there and then here? I'm going to get out of foliage. I'm going to go to selection, and then I'm going to change my light. Maybe something like that. Okay, and find my starter camera. Player start, move object to camera, and we're gonna play. And let's just walk around camp. So there was the dike wall. This definitely looks a lot more filling with all of the trees. Helps a lot. And I think what I want to do is reduce the light just a little bit. And then maybe change the light color just a tad too. All right, we'll keep going here. And unfortunately, um, all of my tents are underground. But this is the commissioner area. And on the right side here is Camp 1. Somewhere over here, we got Camp 7, I think. Right up here. Oh, I need to make that road that goes up to Camp 8. Um, Here we have the shower house. And then if we go up behind the shower house, we can go to First Class Trail. And here's First Class Trail. I can't get through there because it's all blocked off. Should have probably thought of that, but there's an actual pine tree that kind of fits in the middle. Let's go through this forest. Man, this forest is dark. And I need to get rid of this big blob and make an actual lagoon like we did down below. But we have our nature area. And I remember the nature area was a little raised up, so I'm probably going to raise that up a little bit. And then coming this way, you can see the lagoon, the lake. And we kind of have this little rise over here on the far end of the lake where it goes up into First Class Trail. Oh, I can actually go into the lake. That's so cool. Nice. I need to build the stage, but if the mountain was there, we could actually see it. Unfortunately, mountain doesn't exist anymore because something severed its top off. So I need to figure that out. We can see the dike walls peeking up through the trees over there. Let's go to the chapel. Let's see what Bear Valley looks like. So going up to the chapel, gotta go up this really big hill. And this was always a really good view of the mountain. So I probably need to remove some of those trees right here, but or maybe make them shorter. But here's Bear Valley. And honestly, I'm not too mad about it. The only thing I would say is that Bear Valley does go on for like a few more miles. And it looks like my map kind of cut that off. So I'm kind of upset that the map is cutting that off. But this feels very Bear Valley like. I'm not going to lie. Like, I really like it. Probably need some boulders for Eagles Rock, which actually I think I have an Eagles Rock boulder around here somewhere. Pretty sure I placed one. I have like actual stone that I put down, so that helps in the texture. But I don't know. Somewhere in here I put a rock. I don't think we'll be able to find it. But let's go to the dike wall. See what the dike wall looks like on foot. And I think to do this, I'm gonna need to, yeah, there we go. And then I'm gonna change my player start to show up. Move camera to object. Oh, whoops. Dang it. Need to undo that. Okay. I guess it's thinking. Give it a second here. Hopefully it doesn't crash. I don't really have much I need to save, but let me change my camera speed so I'm not absolutely zooming off into nothingness. And we'll come up here. And that's perfect. Now I need to go to player start and I need to move object to camera. And then I hit play. And I should drop right on top of the dike wall. If the mountain was there, I could see it, but I can't. And so now the question is, does this look like an accurate representation of camp? I think so. From what I recollect. Okay, well, we made a lot of progress today. It's pretty cool. Learned a lot of stuff. Apparently my mountain is chopped off, which is really crappy, so I'm gonna figure that out. But I just love how these uh, trees accentuate the uh, the terrain. Like it really helps to see these trees, especially whenever you like rotate the sun around a little bit. I think you can really start to see where all of the valley exists. See that? Like that's just so cool. And if we had a mountain, this would look like the iconic SPSR, but we don't. So I'm gonna figure out how to get the mountain back. Wow, this was a 4 hour ordeal on top of a 3 hour this morning, so I've put in a lot of work today. Thanks for joining. I'm going to go ahead and end here. I'll probably upload this whole stream to YouTube so we can all watch it again. So thanks for joining. See you all next time.